Hi, I'm Ilene. I have been an asthmatic for 45 years. I started having asthma symptoms when I was 3 years old. I had bronchial pneumonia. I spent probably 3 times a year in the hospital every year since then. I have taken more kinds of asthma medication than anyone that I know, and I finally had so many health complications, 10 millimeter kidney stones, a cancer scare. I had an autoimmune scare with temperatures above 104 degrees for months, and they couldn't find out what was wrong with me. I wanted to do something alternative because the meds weren't helping me, and I just felt like I was slowly killing myself. I was very lucky that I live in Kingston, which is not too far from Woodstock, and I opened the paper one day, and there was just a session of introducing people to Buteyko, and I got online and found out, wow, this is it. You know, something made me buy the paper that day. And I have been practicing for 3 months, and enjoy the exercises. Don't be afraid of the exercises. You'll learn, you know, what your number is at first, and I'll tell you that when I first started, my number was 3, which is close to death. And my number now, when I wake up in the morning, is 27. And I no longer take Advair, which is the one medication that was really scary for me because I felt that the steroids were really playing havoc in my body. I am still a medication taking asthmatic, but I take so little, and I'm slowly weaning myself off. And Buteyko does advise that. He doesn't say just throw away your meds. You know, you can do this. And when I'm in a situation where I'm overwhelmed or running around like Cody was, if you take a moment and do a couple breathing exercises, you just center yourself and you're in control. And I think that's probably the scariest part about having asthma is that you're just not in control. And you think by carrying around your inhaler that, you know, this is my savior, and it's not. And, you know, I'm grateful to Thomas and Sasha with their patience and the information. And I know that you can all be successful just by putting the time in. And, you know, I'm an early morning girl, and I'm up at 5 a.m., and it's the half hour that I get to spend by myself, for myself. I mean, we're all busy people, and we have families, and we have animals, and we have work, and people count on us. And this half hour, 3 times a day that you do is for you. It's not for your kids, not for your husband. It's for you. And it is so valuable, I can't even begin to tell you. And you'll learn to relax, and your numbers will go up, and you'll start to hit, I'm hitting numbers in the 30s, and it almost makes you want to cry because when you can't even hold your breath for 3 seconds, and now I can hold my breath for 34, 35, 36 seconds. You just, I celebrate actually every time I go into my husband and go, I can do this. And you can do this. I mean, you really can do this, and don't be afraid, and every day is not going to be perfect, and we get sick, you know, in the beginning a little bit, but I have had flu all around me. I have not had the flu. And, you know, there's been a lot of bronchitis in my office, and, you know, breathe through your nose, and it will save you. And does anybody have any questions? Your diet is important. I mean, your food is not as important to me now. I used to be, my husband is an incredible chef, and it just changes your life in every aspect.
So the breathing, I mean, the breathing less takes care of all the other things that we have. Right. You don't need, it's one size fits all. Right?
To different levels. We'll teach you at different points of your healing process. You'll do your exercises differently. and we'll teach you that. But I'd like to share that Ilene came to a lecture in July.
Yes, in July 23rd, in July.
And you could just see that she was lighting up while we were talking about all of this. And I said, well, what medication do you have? Oh, God. It was like a bag this big. She was carrying so much meds with her. It was almost even impossible to imagine that you could take so much medication. I mean, the bag was half the size of you.
It was huge. I picked up and I said, this is what I want to be free from.
And it's amazing to see the difference for Ilene, how different she looks, the color in her cheeks. Explain what you do with the dogs.
Oh, I work with a dog rescue. And we rescue Jack Russell Terriers, which, if you're familiar, are a very, very high energy breed. And I take care of 37 Jack Russell Terriers, and walking them and running them and kissing them. And it was always a huge trigger for me because, you know, dog hair, a lot of us have that problem. And just walking, a lot of us triggers. You know, there's 2 triggers right there. And it is my passion. I mean, I'm supposed to be there right now. I'm on my break. But, you know, it's just a joy. I go to the gym. I'm walking. I'm 5'2", maybe, and I'm walking at 4 miles an hour on the treadmill for a half hour with no symptoms, doing breath holds and liking it. You know, enjoying the freedom. And I just can't stress that it just gives you the control that you need. And that was the biggest part of asthma, that you walk into a situation and, oh, is this going to trigger me, or is that going to trigger me? And, you know, if I know I'm going to be into, I also run agility with my dog, which is another kind of thing with different dogs. I have a terrier, which don't shed as much, but I'm with golden retrievers and dachshunds, and I do a little bit extra exercise before I go, and it gives me the control that I need. And I know that if I'm out of control, I can just take a moment and center myself and do a couple breath holds, and I'm fine. And that's what I hope that everybody can get to that point, because it's a gift.